am I allowed to be dishonest? Like, do they want to hear that? Or are they more concerned with just doctrine and you know, all that type of stuff? At some point, that doctrine has to intersect with your life in some way, shape, or form. And it has to inform the way you do life. God commands us to obey those doctrines. You know what I'm saying? So what does it look like to live those things out?
I wasn't always saved, I was once depraved and a slave to my nature. My way to an early grave had been paved. Generations before me, my forefathers, he carried the lost gene, causing me to be formed evil. But even before the tree in the garden was seen as a cause of evil.
With this album, I kind of focused on what I'm going through, and I brought, you know, a biblical worldview to it, but it was just about, you know, just real stuff that nobody talks about. Stuff that I'm like, look, I got married and I found myself in this situation, and there wasn't a Christian hip-hop song that I could run to that had information on how to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? And I know my marriage isn't the only marriage that deals with these things. So who's gonna talk about it if not me?
Yeah, between masturbation and past relations, I was cheating before we even began dating. We planned a journey together but had our bags waiting. When the past weighs and it pulls you back with the hand of Satan.
This verse is about Trish, so I'm like, just like we were talking about last night, the passion, the frustration with the baggage that she's coming into the marriage with, and how things you have to think about. Like I'm thinking, like, the energy that you give, that same passion, that same frustration, that same heart, is like, tap into that heart as you spit this verse.
It doesn't feel like it's in the past when you're hearing the story for the first time, or when you're learning of it for the first time, or when the enemy tempts you with the story and it feels fresh again. You know what I mean? So
how do you deal with the fact, like, yo, I'm just finding out for the first time that my wife has had some partners, you know what I'm saying? And dudes, not only that, dudes have taken advantage of her. You know, you hit on the point of it feeling fresh. Like, how do you serve her in that situation's real?
Yeah, I mean, it's rough, you know what I'm saying? And I think there's no real easy like formula for it. You have to, you know, trust the Lord, and you have to kind of, like, you have to walk in forgiveness. Like, I don't even know these dudes, but I have to learn how to forgive them, even though I've never met them. You know what I'm saying? Because their offense is primarily towards God, first of all, but then secondarily it's towards my wife. And even though she didn't know me at the time, or wasn't related or whatever, like, she was still going to be my wife. She wasn't their wife, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, so that's an offense that I have to, like, forgive and get over and be able to move past. And, you know, and I have to reapply that forgiveness when I rethink about what happened.
It's a choice for which my commitment to God prepared me. Better yet, his commitment to me was modeled very clearly. We can bear with embarrassments and ensnaring sins when we see the sin that Jesus would bear in comparison. We married sinners who married sinners. How fair is it when we believe that God is declared as disciplinarian?
Sorry, it was declared as disciplinarian. All that was just jumbled to me. That's why you're starting over from top.
For me, like, I didn't do a whole lot of dirt before I got saved. Like, you know, I wasn't doing drugs. I never drank, never smoked anything, never even liked the idea of it. Didn't mess with a lot of females. I only messed with one. But with that one, like, I did get her pregnant. And I've talked about it on other projects that, you know, she you know, kind of got you know, an abortion, and but I think with this project, I kind of addressed it in a way that I never thought about it before. Like, you know, what if that would have went through? Like, what if she didn't get the abortion? Like, how would that have changed my life direction? Like, would I still be in Philly? Like, would I be married to my wife now? I would have a 16-year-old, a 17-year-old by now, who's, you know, like, that's, you know, that's a lot, you know what I mean? And that changes things, you know.
What would you say now based on that experience?
I think, you know, like, in the song Baggage, where I talk about it, I say that God is sovereign in the excuse me. God is sovereign in the bullets we dodge and the ones we're caught with. You know what I'm saying? So, like,
God is sovereign in the
and the bullets we dodge and the ones we're caught with. So the ones that hit us and the ones that miss us. Like, you can't look at certain situations as black and white, as this was a sin and it shouldn't have happened, or, you know, oh, that was God's grace and he provided a way out. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's both. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not just like, you know, this was wrong or this was good. It was both. Like, it was wrong and it was provision. It was a way of escape for me. You know, so it's difficult. But I mean, that's just the nature of the way God does things. Like, everything isn't just like, you know, this is of me, this isn't. It's like, I allow this evil to take place for a good reason. You know what I'm saying? So.
To raise a family. My teenager could say I'm about your age when you had me, and they probably use it as an excuse to behave badly. I can't imagine my life apart from my wife, of course, and I resolve that my prayers are with my remorse. But striving toward the future means that my eyes are forward. Otherwise, at times when the fire falls, I am sore.
What is this that you're unpacking about sex for us on this project?
I think sex is one of those things that, you know, again, like, I don't hear too many people talking about it. I think that it's talked about in Christian hip hop in such a negative way so often that non-believers who listen to Christian hip hop might think that sex is a sin, even if you're married. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't think Christian hip hoppers have said that explicitly, but we don't really hear about the celebration of, that's what's up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're married, go handle your business. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and I think, I mean, that's just Christianity in general. Like, there's a lot of negative stuff about sex, and there's not a whole lot of positive stuff about what married couples do behind closed doors. And, you know, and to an extent I understand it's something private, it's something sacred, you know what I'm saying? It's not something you put on blast like, hey, we did this like that last night, we tried this new trick, and blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, it is something that should be talked about in a positive light and kind of celebrated, because it's dope, you know what I'm saying? You know, even, you know, in 1 Corinthians, it's kind of, you know, my pastor would argue that it's spiritual warfare, because the devil uses married couples who aren't having sex enough as a way to introduce temptation to lead them astray. You know what I'm saying? So, like, doing it frequently is good for your marriage. You know what I'm saying? Even marriage counselors will ask you, how often are you guys doing it? You know what I'm saying? So, so yeah. So I just felt like, you know, nobody else is talking positively about it, so I will.
Sometimes when it feels right, it is right. And other times, it's sin. Yeah. Is that what they say, Zach?
The general idea that you could say is the same, like, driving, like, philosophy for all my albums is, nobody else is saying this and it should be said, so I'm gonna say it. So that's what it is. It's something that I don't really hear too many other people saying.
So maybe that's the part I should be trying to change instead. I know it's only possible because my savior bled, cause he was the only one capable of making his dad smile. Remember, talk to the car for long trips, so while it's sitting in park, I wanna